Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you've not been here before. So today it's back again, the gun that caused a lot of discussion and debate, and not all of it positive, but most of it was, to be fair, and that is the Specna Arms HK416, otherwise known as the SA H20. Now, yeah, last time this was on the channel it caused a bit of a fuss. Look guys, when I received this gun, you'll know I didn't give it the most amazing review, and that's because I reviewed it on what I got out of the box. So a couple of guys, said maybe I got a lemon, maybe I did, but I've also had a lot of messages from people in my inbox saying theirs have done the same thing. So that's not what this video is about though, that is just the facts of the matter. All my airsoft reviews are my opinion, and they're based on what I think of what I get out of a box at that time. And if I receive a box, open it up and it's full of candy floss, I'm going to tell you, because that's the way this channel works. But that's in the past, that video's gone, and I'm not going to revisit any of the silliness that went on at the time. Simple fact is, what I found is what I found, and what I want to do today is pull it apart and see what we can make of it, because the overwhelming question that I got asked by people, or the request I got from people, was to do something with it, because a lot of people have bought them, they've got them, and they want to know what to do. Now what I'm going to do today is a bit of an experiment with it. I wouldn't say follow what I do step by step, because it may be that once I've completed this it explodes into a million pieces. This is just a bit of a test today to see what I can do with it, and if it does blow up and ends time itself when I give it its first test fire, I don't really care, because I wouldn't use it as it is anyway. So I'm going to use it as a bit of a test bed to mess around and see what we can do with it. And if you want to do that, then you follow my example. If you want to do that, that's totally up to you. But when it explodes and kills your family and destroys your house, don't blame me, you have been warned. So let's take it apart and see what we can do. You may wonder why I've got a giant scope on here. That's because I was trying to do an accuracy test this morning to see how well it was firing, and I've also changed out the normal stock for a CTR stock because I just think it looks a bit funkier. I did have a problem with the other stock, but it's nothing to shout about. It's not really a major issue. It's just a small pin in the actual adjuster on the back was starting to come out. But it's no big deal. It's something you can just push back in and glue in. Look, with any airsoft gun, it's not specific to Specna Arms, so don't worry Specna, I'm not having a go at you. And before anyone else thinks I am not the anti-Specna. I don't like if I don't like their products, I'll say so, and if I do like them, I'll say so. So let's have a look at the parts that I got for it. So I've got some upgraded bearings, ultimate bearings. I've got a new black dust cover for it, which is a bit chunkier, a bit more solid. I've got a new, I don't think this will actually work. This is actually a bolt catch release. Having taken this apart, looked at one in here, I actually don't think this is going to, well, it's not going to work, because this needs a pin through it, and bizarrely this one doesn't have a pin in it. It actually just rocks back and forth. That actually just pulls out of there once you release it. So that's not going to work, unfortunately. We have this, which attaches to the actual bolt, which allows you to pull the slide back, and I've got a replacement fake bolt as well, because this one keeps bending and going all silly and won't release. And it's actually forwards at the moment, but if you look, it doesn't pull all the way back. Oh, there you go, it's back. But then it releases and it won't release off the catch, and it's a mess. So we're going to see if we can't replace those bits. Now I don't know if that's going to work or not, but that's why I'm here, to try it out so you guys don't have to. And the other thing I thought we'd try with this, while we're messing about with it, I got one of these Chinese Geisley rails off where was it, AliExpress I think, just to try it out and see if they're actually any good, because I keep seeing these around. They're fairly cheap, but I love a good Geisley rail. So let's have a look and see what it looks like on here and see what we can make of this thing. Remember guys, like, subscribe and keep watching. Leave a comment below and give us a thumbs up, it all helps. one thing I say, guys, is whenever you're messing with these things, these airsoft guns, if you're going to do like messing about with them, you know, upgrade them, anything else, always have parts available. If you can see, this is my focus, and I've got loads and loads of parts from different guns I've taken apart, but this is my favourite bit, which is all the new parts, all the upgrade stuff. And I always try and keep stuff in stock, so I haven't got to wait to do any changes. So like I've got a couple of TNT type bores, I've got the hops, I've got the nubs, we've got some SHS piston heads, maple leaf stuff, what else we got, all kinds of stuff in there, Action Army bits and pieces. So that's like a cylinder head there, we've got a silent cylinder head in there, this thing, an Action Army hop-up rubber for a VSR 10. I'll let you guys guess which gun that may be going in very soon. Tappet plates, I mean that's the standard version 2, but I've even got like version 7 stuff for M14s, pistons. Always have this stuff knocking around if you can, because if it comes on sale, it's so good to get hold of, because every now and again some of the dealers will be selling off all their old stock, and the new stuff's no different, so you just get it all when you can. New thing that I've got at the moment that I'll probably be trying today is an SHS CNC machined hop-up unit. Now I've never seen one of these before. I've certainly not used an SHS one before. I've used the Pro Wins and different ones to varying results, but I was quite interested in this. It's no cheaper than any of the others, but it looks good quality from what I've seen so far, so it should be interesting. Okay guys, so you all messaged me. I had loads and loads of messages off you guys saying please do something with the 416 and show us what you do with it, and that's what I've done. So I've done something with it. Now what I've done to this has been a bit experimental. I just thought I'd got a load of parts in the workshop, and I pretty much threw them all together and thought I'll put them in this gun and see what happens. So we've reshimmed it. We've put new bearings in the gearbox. Because when the damaged one in my first review, I only replaced the one because I didn't have enough to do them all. So what I've done now is replaced all of them. I've not done a lot else inside the gearbox except for put a set of 13:1 ratio gears in there as well. All given it a perfect shim and a real fine tune, and stuck an 11.1 volt battery in the stock, and away it goes. Now as far as the rest of it's concerned, I've also put in a SHS rotary hop unit. Now these I've not seen before. This is the first one I've come across, and it's actually okay. It's a CNC machine hop, but the only thing I really don't like about it, and you'll see it in part of my video, is they've actually molded the nub into the hop arm. I don't like that because it means you've then got to modify it to put your own hop in there. So if you're doing a flat hop or an R hop if you really want, or you're doing something like I have with the TNT, and you want to use the specific knob, it does mean that you've got to modify it, which is a pain in the backside. I wish if they were going to send it out, they send it with a knob and a rubber and all these different bits. It'd be much nicer to have the option to just have it with the hop arm. If they don't do that, I haven't seen it myself, but to allow you to use a normal sort of rounded hop knob, if you like. I'd have much preferred that. Now what else I've put in here is a TNT tight bore barrel. They're 603, but they've actually widened them at the end to allow the airflow to run past the BB to give it a more stable flight. And you know, some people like it, some people don't. Some people say they work, some people, you know, everyone's open to their opinion. Personally, having done a bit of fluid dynamics, I actually think they work, and I've seen the results as well. Technically, you know, theoretically they should work, and from what I've seen the results of testing it, they are really, really good. I'll show you some more on that in a minute. To match the TNT barrel, I've also put in a TNT hop rubber and a TNT nub to match it. Some people have said on the internet, I've seen that these are quite expensive hop rubbers compared to Prometheus or Maple Leaf or anything like that. They're a little bit more expensive, not terribly more expensive, and the reason for that is you've got to remember, although you're paying £24, you're getting 2 in the box. You're not just getting the 1. So they're still a little bit more expensive, but they're not breaking the bank, to be fair. I think they're worth every penny because they're the closest you'll get to an R hop with a normal hop rubber, really. There are other similar ones out there, but they're all much of a muchness. I like to match products with, you know, so hops, barrels, things like that. Other than that, other than shimming and servicing and those gears, I've not done a great deal else to the gearbox, and it's only really the barrel and the hop unit. Now, I had issues with the externals on this. I didn't like the dust cover. This one is the exact same dust cover that I've actually got on my other Specna Arms 416, and you'll see, so if ever you thought they were from the same manufacturer, this really does prove the point that they're not, because the dust cover doesn't latch shut. Which, to be honest, I don't care about that so much, to be honest. I prefer the look of the black one. But if you do care about that and you want a black dust cover, just paint the one you've got. It's far easier. What I do recommend is changing the bolt cover, because that other one is so cheap and nasty. This is a, I think it's an ENC bolt, fake bolt in there. But we're still suffering of the problem it's sticking back. I found the reason for that. The bolt latch, in fact, I'll show you the reason. Okay guys, so this is my 1 Series 416, and you'll notice in here, just there, there's a pin. And the way this pin works is it allows the actual bolt catch to pivot on there. So if we cock the handle, then you've got this pivot here, and you press it, and it releases the fake bolt. Now if you take a look at the new Specna Arms 416, you'll notice that on here there's actually no pin in there, so it has nothing to pivot on, and it just pulls backwards and forwards pretty much. It just wobbles around, and that is typical of a fake bolt. So the way they try to get around this is they actually put a small pivot point on the bar, not that you can really see it. they put a pivot point on the bar for it to pull the catch down, but in reality it doesn't work. It doesn't pull the catch down. So that's the problem with the catch, and I've not found a way around that to actually fix it yet. I'm sure I can space it out and perhaps do something with it. I wanted to put a pin in there, change it for the pin type, but you try and drill that through there, it's not easy even with machinery. Now, one thing you'll notice with this gun, the work I did with it, I did use a lathe and a milling machine quite a lot to modify parts, and in reality not everyone has got access to those, and I'm very lucky to have them, to be honest. So this is an AliExpress front end. It's a replica of a Geisley rail. Now the thing with these things is they are replicas, so they're not going to be the tightest tolerances, and also obviously all these 416s from VFC, Specna Arms, Tokyo Marui, all these different brands will vary a little bit in how they fit together. And what I noticed is the actual mounting kit for this is a little bit loose, so when you bolt it up it still wobbles around all over the place. So I've had to modify it to do that. So I've had to machine down the actual ring inside anyway, and then when I fitted it, it still wobbled around. So I've actually had to put grub screws in either side of these two mounting points to actually hold on to that ring in the middle, and it's actually made it super sturdy and it doesn't move one bit. It's actually absolutely solid. So if you're happy to do that, then that's absolutely fine, you can do it. And if you haven't got a lathe, you can still hacksaw down the ring if you need to, but you have to be very careful when you're doing it because you don't want to be all skewiff. Things I do like about this front rail is they have what's known as helicoils in all the threads, which are basically steel inserts. It makes them much, much stronger, and you are far less likely to actually strip threads out. So I'm actually, although it's taken some modification, I'm actually really happy with this rail. I really like it, and I think it looks great on the rifle. So let me show you what this thing actually sounds like. So take the mag out, gun's empty, and I've got 11.1 in, 13:1 ratio gears, shimmed, and with obviously the Aster in there. So that's semi, and you do, I've noticed, you get a little bit of a spring, sort of a boing sound off it. I think it's the acoustics of this room. When you're outside, you can't actually hear it, so I think that's probably what it is. But again, ultimate response, really good, and full auto. Now I'm not into crazy full auto sort of high rate of fire guns, but for this one it's actually pretty good. It's pretty high rate of fire on it. But I've put those 13:1 gears in just to give it that really snappy trigger response. I only really use them in semi anyway, but without the pre-cocking, you know, those 13:1, they really work well, because there is no pre-cocking on this one. But yeah, it is actually, for my opinion, it's now usable as it's intended from the factory. Unfortunately, I had a ghost in mine. It decided to run away, and well, we've all been there and seen that video. So let's talk about tight bore barrels. So what I was saying then about the TNT barrel, I'll show you on these two targets so we can compare. So come over here. So these are our targets, and as usual I was firing at 20 meters. Now this one is before I put the TNT in. So this is the original brass tight bore barrel with the standard rubber and nub. Now the hot rubber and nub are no different to anything that you'd get in any cheap AEG, so you know, I don't hold that against any company because most people change them for whatever they want these days, so it's no big deal. However, not all tight bores are equal, and it does go to show. Now this is at 20 meters with the scope set up, so we were firing with a known zero on the scope, and yeah, it was from a stable platform. I was resting on something as well, so I wasn't free-handing it. Then you go to the TNT. These first few were pretty much sighting it out because I hadn't set up the scope at this point. This was literally straight out the workshop and stick some BBs and fire it down range. And once I'd got an idea for where they were going, I got it set up on a stable platform, and this was your grouping at 20 meters. I think that's pretty good straight out of the box, and with a hot rubber bedding in, it only gets better. So if you compare the two, what a difference. It's huge, absolutely huge difference, because if you think that's at 20 meters, you imagine how much difference it's going to make at 30 meters or even 35 to 40 meters. You know, as soon as these BBs aren't going to suddenly group back together, they're going to carry on traveling in their respective directions. So these ones are only going to get further apart, as are these, but these are starting a lot tighter together in the first place. So if you ever wondered if all tight ball barrels are equal, no, they're not. So, other than the silly bolt catch, I'm actually happy to now run this gun. I would take it and I would play a match with it, which I wouldn't have done before. And it's current in its standard state out of the box. Everyone needs to see the review. I wasn't that scathing of it, but I wasn't happy with it for a new gun. However, having done some work on it, the front end's just, you know, that's not a selling point. That's just for the sake of it, making it different. But for the sake of doing the internals, I'm actually quite happy with it now, and I think it performs really well for the money. So yeah, I would use it. Would I recommend buying it from new as it was? Well, watch my other video for my opinions on that, because they haven't changed. Specna Arms have actually released a press release on their Facebook page. I believe somebody was telling me that if you go on there, they will tell you how to fix your H series guns if you're having problems with them. Which says to me they've had some poor feedback. So yeah, take that however you want it. That's no problem, that's up to them, but they'll do whatever they do. Now, as this gun stands, I'm happy to use it, I'm happy to play with it, and I probably will take it out and run it to destruction, see what I can do with it, because I think it will be quite an interesting platform to see how we go. Whether I carry on using it after that, we'll have to wait and see, or maybe I'll break it apart, depends on how it goes. My other Specna Arms is still running great, I love it to bits. So you never know, it may even reach that status if, but only if, I can sort out that bolt. I know it doesn't matter, I know it doesn't make any difference to the workings of the gun, but I don't like things that don't work. If they're supposed to work, as far as I'm concerned, they should work. So I will be messing around with that to see what I can do. But otherwise, I'm happy. Okay guys, so that is it. That will probably be the last you see of the H series for some time, unless it does something miraculous, so or terrible. So yeah, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had some amazing feedback from you, and if you guys want to do the same, by all means go ahead and do it, but just remember, if you mess it up, that's on your own back. It's not up to me. I've done what I decided to do because I'm happy to take the risk of it going all wrong. So just bear in mind, if this is your only gun, you've never taken one apart before, and you've watched this video, it doesn't mean you should then take it apart and stick 13-to-1 gears in there, because you can get it badly wrong. So just bear that in mind. But certainly, I would say, start thinking about the TNT hop, and certainly the barrel and the nubs. I think they're amazing. The SHS hop unit is okay, although it takes a little bit of modification. There are others out there that give you the performance straight out the box without having to modify it. So there was a lot of work gone into this. I've probably spent a day working on this in total, and I've still got little things to refine. So just bear that in mind. I do this quite a lot, so it doesn't take me long to pull these things apart and put them back together. I can build a gearbox in an hour. So just bear that in mind. And the Geisley did take quite a little bit of fiddling around, but if you're happy to do it and you have the equipment to do it, and guys, go for it, do it. That's what airsoft, one of the biggest things for me for airsoft is the customization and the building and the fine-tuning of the guns. I love the gameplay, but I love messing with the guns just as much, and I think they both contribute to each other nicely. So yeah, so guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel, it all helps. The channel's grown massively over the last month, and I couldn't do it if it wasn't for you guys. So remember, give us a subscription, because it's really appreciated. I'll see you again soon. We've got something interesting from Arcturus coming up soon, hopefully in the next week or so. So we'll get that out, and keep a lookout for it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.